a little bit of news, nothing too major, but as you could tell from the graphic and the title of this episode, I am starting another YouTube channel. Now, I wanted to give everybody sort of a rundown of what's going on with this new channel, and also to let you know what is going to happen with this channel. So basically, the new channel will cover most of the topics that I had intended to cover in this channel, and also a lot of the episodes that I have already done for this channel, like my Miracles and Signs series, anything about my walk with God, also breaking free from society. That was the whole premise for the title Untethered, untethering myself from society and the world, and talking about current events, society as a whole. But there are several reasons why I'm not going to continue doing these episodes and this type of thing on this particular channel. And let me give you the breakdown of those reasons. I have something that I like to call inherited aggression. Now, before I go any further, my mom was a good mom. There's nothing wrong there. She wasn't a mean person. She meant well in everything she said and did. She was kind and caring and all of those good attributes that a good mom should have. But something that she did do often that I still to this day find her doing, and I realize that I have inherited it, and that is to have a sort of an aggressive personality. So I can say something and it can be completely harmless in my mind and come off as aggressive toward other people. The smallest thing, even just asking a question. A good example, just recently that happened to me just the other day, my niece always goes and buys tortillas for us on the corner. So my husband was outside working on the fence, and I was about to give her 11 pesos, and I was at the window, and I said, in English, she doesn't speak English, but she knows what I'm talking about when I say tortilla, because she's used to going back and forth getting tortillas for us. And I said, "Hey, Scarlett, do you want to go get tortillas?" Now, the way I said it just now, I think I subconsciously softened it a little bit. But when I said it that day, apparently I said it aggressively. She didn't take it wrong, but my husband, after she had left to go get the tortillas, she said, "Oh, God, why do you gotta be so aggressive?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he proceeded to explain to me that I asked her in a very aggressive tone, and I said, "Here we go again. It's just another example." And speaking of another example, when my husband first met me on the bridge in North Little Rock, Arkansas, he almost didn't speak to me because he said I looked mean. When he did first speak to me, after a couple of times, there was one point where he said that my personality, my attitude just changed, and he thought he had offended me somehow, and he never did, and I had no idea what he's talking about. So the aggressive personality is something that I have wanted to change about myself for so long. A more recent event online happened, and this is actually the thing that made me decide, okay, I need to change. It's not about changing myself. It's not about changing myself to fit society's standards or into my new Christian lifestyle. This has been something that I have wanted to do for myself and for my mental health for so long, because I've just been I grew up with this defense mechanism, and I had two brothers. I didn't have any sisters. I grew up as a tomboy playing in trees. In my teenage and young adult years, I kind of had to fend for myself against the evils of society, if you will, and the society's expectations. I wasn't popular in school. I didn't have, in-style clothes or or a lot of friends or anything like that, but nobody ever bullied me, that was for sure, because later I found out that the reason people didn't bully me or didn't mess with me was because I looked mean. And I thought, well, thank God for that, because I really wasn't mean. I just had that face. I think the term today is resting bitch face. I don't like to say that, but that's what people use. And I feel like I grew up with that my whole life. But like I was saying, another recent example happened online. You might have even seen it yourself. I uploaded a short about I founded a Christian church. And a lot of you who have been following my episodes know that I've been wanting to go to church. I'm living in Mexico. I can't find an English-speaking like Baptist church that's not Catholic, because everything here is Catholic. So I was in a city not too far from us, and we found a sign that said Christian church on the outside, but in Spanish. And I did a little short video, and I just said, oh, I finally found a Christian church, but it's shut down. And I didn't say anything that I thought was offensive or mean or aggressive or anything like that. And I got a lot of thumbs down, votes on that short. And also there were a couple of people in the comments saying mean things toward me, and one in particular even called me a Karen. And I was just like baffled by people's reaction to such what I thought was a simple video about a church. I didn't say anything offensively, but so it only could have been my tone and my facial expressions and my body gestures, my hand gestures and things. I don't know. But I ended up deleting that because apparently, it caused me a lot of stress, because I am trying to just be kind and just show my life and everything, and even just something as simple as that, and people just take it the wrong way. And I do understand that happens a lot in life. No matter what you do, you can't avoid conflict, confrontation, people who have an opinion, people who misunderstand. You can't avoid these things. But for me in particular, this is a problem that I've been dealing with for my whole life, for many, many years. People just think I'm an aggressive person. I'm not approachable. I'm intimidating, and people are put off by that. I have even gone back and whenever I'm editing videos with me and my husband talking to each other about a project we're working on or something of that nature, and I cringe when I hear myself when I'm speaking to him, because it sounds like I am just overbearing. It sounds like I'm telling him what to do, how to do it, and like I'm a know-it-all. And in my mind, I'm not thinking that way at all. I don't feel like I'm trying to be bossy. I'm trying to be intimidating, anything like that. But it always comes off that way. And my husband tells me too that it's not just me. It really does seem that way. So I know if it seems that way to him in my videos, I know it seems that way to all of you as well. And I have to admit, there are a lot of times when I'm being aggressive or sarcastic, and I mean it, because therein comes the second part of this whole explanation, is that I do have a defensive personality. It's like a fight or die attitude. I'm a negative person, a cynical person, a sarcastic person. I have always been this way, and I have always wanted to change it. I didn't know how to change it. I didn't even know how I got to that point. But that is just something that I feel like I wanted to work on for myself, for my mental health. Having a more soft-spoken, calm, positive attitude and speaking voice and inner feeling, when not just faking it, but feeling it on the inside as well, it does wonders for your mental health. A kind and understanding heart, as opposed to an offensive and angry one, makes people want to listen to you more, makes you more approachable, makes them more inclined to care what you have to say. And that's how I want to be. That's how I want to come across to people. I don't want to come off as this, this angry, bitter, just complaining person. And in my videos and my podcast episodes dating back to 2019, that's how they come off. And not all the time do I want to, convey those emotions, but I do anyway. And then there are the times when I do want to convey those emotions, and then you really know it. So I'm just generally an angry, negative person, and people are put off by that. So I want to change that. It's difficult for me to focus on positive things or things of beauty, things of a good nature, because my fight or die attitude always gets in the way of that. So that is one thing that I can no longer do. I don't want to do it. I'm not changing for anybody else. I'm changing so people will be able to understand me more and to be more willing to listen to what I have to say, instead of seeing someone who's just angry at the world and has an agenda and a grudge and is just out to speak my mind and just get things off my chest in the most aggressive and mean way possible. So another reason why I am starting a new channel is because I want to do more scripted episodes. And there are several reasons why I want to do more scripted episodes, as opposed to the unscripted, raw, and in the moment type of stuff that you're used to seeing. The number one reason is because I jump from subjects way too much. I will start here and jump way over here, skipping all of this in between. And then by the time I'm done talking about this over here, I've already forgotten where I left off. This happened recently in my last video titled, "Is Your Passion Sinful?" And I started talking about what writing fantasy does for me. It's like it's my savior, it's my go-to, it's the thing that I can always go to and trust. And I had intended to talk about how important it was to not rely on that type of thing, and that you need Christ, that you shouldn't rely on your passion or your hobby or your job or your family or your husband or your wife or any of these things to give you comfort, to take your mind away from the cruelties of the world, the thing that you trust the most, the thing that you love the most, the thing that never betrays you or lets you down. Isn't my writing, isn't my passion in writing fantasy. I wanted to say, after I said all of those things, that it is in Christ that we should place those feelings, not in feelings of the material world and things of the material world. But I just completely forgot that. I just skipped over that. And that becomes a huge problem for me, because there are so many things I want to say, so many topics that I want to cover, and I want to be able to do it eloquently with the right words, the right sentences, the right phrases. And I can't do that when I'm just speaking freely. Because, the reality is I am a writer, not a speaker. But like I was saying, I jump from subject to subject, and I just end up with like a bunch of rambling, a bunch of boring rambling. And I've already done it in this episode, and I'm going to have to probably cut that out. But I've already went on this long rant, and I'm stumbling over my words. I do that all the time. I stumble over my words. I forget what I'm going to say, even just seconds before I say it. I know what I'm about to say, and then suddenly it's just gone. You see, I just said That's another thing. And I say all the time. Another thing I say when I'm just trying to have fill in the quiet, I say, you know. It's so annoying. And I can't cut all of the ums and the uhs and the you knows out in the editing process because it would take me days. So I feel like when I'm not reading from a script, that I have fine-tuned and made it the best it can be and not forgotten anything important. If I'm not reading from a script, it's just like everything is all over the place. And every single time I do an episode for Untethered, I never really feel satisfied because I feel like, wow, that was terrible. I left this out. I stumbled over this. I said this in a completely wrong way. I did not intend to say it in that way. This analogy would have been better. That's just the writer in me coming out, because when I'm in the editing process, you write down the rough draft and it's terrible. But when you go through the editing process, you can fine tune everything, make everything sound the way it's supposed to sound, to be believable and to engage people instead of being this rambler who just goes on and never really gets to the point. The reason why I sometimes don't get to the point is because I forgot it. And I'm talking at the same time in the back of my mind, I'm trying to remember the point at the same time while I'm talking. So it's not effective. It's not efficient. It does not work for me. And that's why I don't like any of the episodes that I do, because they're not scripted. Another thing that I would like to do is use more imagery and storytelling and even a little bit of music in the background in my episodes. I want to give something else for viewers to see and hear than just me standing or sitting in front of the screen for 15 to 40 minutes and that's it. You just see the same background, you see me talking and moving my hands around, and I feel like it's can be sometimes a little difficult for people to stay engaged, especially on top of the fact that I ramble a lot, I forget words, I'm not articulate, and it just drives me crazy. So I want to do things of a more professional nature, I guess you can say, instead of just sitting in front of the camera. That thing works for a lot of people and it looks good, and maybe some of you like me to do that. And I still intend to do that on the new channel. And if I continue to do episodes on this channel, I'll always do them like that on this channel. But I want to just add something to my episodes other than just me sitting and talking and looking into the screen the whole time. I want to liven things up a little bit and offer more storytelling, and I want to add background music and engaging scenes relevant and some irrelevant to the topic. I've been watching a few YouTube channels that I really enjoy, and I like how they do things, and so I'm gonna borrow the idea. Everybody does it. Everybody's, there's so many channels that do these sorts of things. So that's how you learn. You look at how other things are done, and then you kind of visualize how you want to do it yourself. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, have something else for you to look at than just me sitting in front of the screen. Now, this next one is a huge one, and it is the main reason why I'm going to do a new channel instead of just starting from the beginning here on this Untethered channel and leaving everything else alone and just starting right now to do all of these things that I've already mentioned. I want to let go of the past. I don't want to drag it around with me, and I don't want everybody else to see it either. Now, that kind of goes against the whole point of my Untethered channel. I had intended in the beginning to leave all of the stuff in the past to kind of show everyone my progress from like where I came from, how I used to be so depressed and angry about everything, angry at the world, because there were episodes all the way back to 2019 when I was heavy into depression. I was just mad at everything, mad at everyone. And the only way I could get it off my chest was to vent on my podcast. And I didn't care really at that point if anybody even listened to it. I just needed a release. So all of those episodes are raw, in the moment, emotional stuff. And I'm not proud of them. You know, of course, we all have a past. We all have things that we are not proud of, things we might, do differently if we had a chance. But mine is just kind of out there for everybody to see. And it's not really that worries me as much as if I get new viewers that are tuning into my new Christian life, and me trying to, be the person that I know I am underneath all these layers of defense and growing up, fighting against the world and having to toughen my skin and not having Jesus Christ in my life. If these people that tune in now and say, oh, okay, well, this is a nice video. She seems like a pleasant woman. And then they go and look at my history and they go back and they're wanting to, hear more of what I have to say. They're going to find a lot of really old stuff that is not me anymore. And therein lies the problem, because the chances are that new viewers tuning into my new life are not going to know that those past episodes are from my old life. They're going to be confused and put off and probably not continue to watch my videos, because they're gonna watch one video about how I love to cook and learn new recipes, and I'm doing the homemaker thing, and then all of a sudden they're gonna find a video about me talking about like my spiritually drained episode, where I'm talking about, I don't even know what was in my head at that moment. I'm talking about dark spirituality. Like, what even is that? I'm gonna have to address that at some point, but I don't know what that is. I just was in the moment again, just on a whim, and talking about my frustrations with life, my frustrations with Christianity and loneliness and all of these things. So my point is, I don't want to confuse people. So I need to separate my old life and the life that I'm trying to live now. So that leads me to, here's what you can expect from the new channel. Number one, there will be more scripted episodes and less unscripted episodes. Now, there will be the times when I'm just talking about general life updates, something that doesn't really need a script, kind of like this episode where I'm just giving you a general update about what's going on. Those will remain unscripted. But see, I just said, drives me crazy. So yeah, more scripted, less unscripted. Number two, I will be re-recording some of the episodes from this channel, Untethered, for my new channel. And primarily those will be my Miracles and Signs series episodes, because I left a lot of stuff out of those as well. I'm going to write them down, have them fine-tuned in a script, because I'm also going to be using them in a book. And so I kind of knock two birds out with one stone here. And those are going to be edited properly, and they're just going to be a little enhanced as far as speaking and the storytelling. There was some of the dates I got wrong, some of the details I got wrong, and it bothers me when I don't have the accurate details. So it allows me, if I do it with the script, it allows me to really sit down and think about it instead of just trying to remember what happened off the top of my head. So I will be redoing those episodes and a few other episodes, but not very many. I will be redoing Is Your Passion Sinful with a script, and I will even be redoing this episode sometime in the future with the script, but it's going to be done in a completely different way. It's not as an explanation video or anything like that, but you'll see what it's going to be. The third thing is videos. I will not be uploading to my podcast. Unless you're a podcaster and you're with, you got the earphones on and you're sitting in a studio with someone, that is fine, I think, for podcast episodes, or if you're just sitting by yourself, kind of like I am right now, and you're just talking into the camera. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But the way I'm going to be doing videos for the new channel, I'm also going to have a podcast for the channel as well. But the way I'm going to be doing everything is this going, like I said before, there's going to be more visuals, videos relevant, to the topic or irrelevant to the topic. Things that people who are watching or people who are listening from a podcast might not see, because from what I understand, people who listen to podcasts generally don't really pay attention to the video. I mean, I'm not saying everybody doesn't pay attention to the video. I'm just saying that most people listen to the podcast on their phone or in their car, and they're not really watching a video. And even in the beginning, when I started doing videos on my Spotify channel, because it became an option, the whole time it just felt odd to have a video for a podcast, because I've always associated podcasts with audio. And so I'm not going to do that. And also here in Mexico, my internet is really super slow. So whenever I try to upload videos to Spotify, half the time I get errors. It takes me probably 2 days just to upload one video to my Spotify channel, because I constantly get errors because of the internet. I don't really have that as much of a problem with YouTube, but for some reason I do with Spotify. So I'm just going to eliminate that problem completely. No more videos on the podcast episode. Number 4 on the list is that I will also have a Substack, which is an email-based newsletter, and you get the episodes in your email perfectly intact with the images and everything, or you can go to my Substack page and read everything there and catch up on things that you may have missed or whatever. All scripted episodes will be available on my Substack. However, any episode on YouTube and on my podcast that is not scripted will not be available on Substack, because trying to edit an unscripted episode to make it presentable for text is like pulling teeth. I've already tried to do it with past episodes. I refuse to do it again. So yeah, it's just not feasible. So for viewers, listeners, and readers, it's best to choose, if you don't want to miss anything, it's best to choose at least 2 out of 3. Either YouTube and Substack, or a podcast and Substack. And the podcast, of course, will be available on all of the major podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio. I think there's a list on my page. You can see where my episodes will be available. I will not be posting anything on YouTube's text, whatever it's called. There's a way now that you can post little posts, like text posts on YouTube. I've tried that as well. They don't have very many editing functions. It looks really bad. The only thing that you really get out of that is if someone posts pictures. I'm not even going to mess with YouTube's text-based option because it doesn't look very good. They don't have very many style choices, and you can't really edit the post to look like something professional. It just looks like a bunch of words thrown together on the screen. It's kind of hard to edit it, so I'm not going to be doing that. That's why I'm going to be using Substack. Okay, and the final change is that on Substack and on the podcast, there will be content that is pay only. And this is not an attempt to, get people to, give me money. And I mean, of course, it would be nice, it would help me financially, but that's not the primary reason why I'm doing it. There are some topics that are sensitive when I'm talking about sexuality, sex, sexual trauma, anything like that, and a couple of other types of things I will be talking about dangerous subjects like immigration, things that, I don't really want to talk about too openly, but I still feel like I need to talk about, those will be behind a paywall. And it'll be the same amount on Spotify or, on the podcast, and also on Substack. And those videos will also be on Substack as well, because Substack does allow for videos. But on YouTube right now, unless you have your account has already reached 1,000 subscribers and you qualify for ad revenue, you do not have the subscription option. So I'm just going to make preview videos of the episodes that are behind a paywall, and link in the description either to my podcast, or I'm going to link in the description to both my podcast and my Substack. So if you want to access that particular episode, it's behind a paywall. But those will not be uploaded to YouTube for the time being until either they change the rule and allow paywall subscriptions before you can make ad revenue, or until I reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours and qualify for ad revenue, and that option is available to me in that way. So yes, there will be some episodes, some content that is pay only. It's not going to be very much. In fact, I'm going to make it the lowest amount that it will allow me. I think on Substack, it's like $5 a month is the lowest amount. And so, I'm not trying to get rich off of this or anything like that. That's not going to happen. But I just want you to know that the reason why it's behind a paywall is because of sensitive subjects that, I don't really want underage people to be listening to me talk about, or people who also might be triggered by a certain trauma, like I said, sexual assault, things like that, of adults that might be triggered by something from their past. Those things will be known. I don't want to just, throw it out there for anybody to read it, because there are some things that I need to talk about that I just feel more comfortable if it's behind a paywall, because then, most likely if it's somebody under the age of 18, they're not going to access it. So there's that. So anyway, that is my new goal, my new project. I'm leaving the links in the description here to the Substack page, to the podcast page, as well as the YouTube channel. And the title of the channel is This Faithful River. I don't have the episodes up yet. I have not started uploading anything except on the Substack page. You can go to read everything that it's about and kind of get an idea of what to expect. I have a lot of scripts already written up. I just need to record them and edit and then start the process of adding videos there. But the links are in the description. You can find them, and you can subscribe there and kind of keep up with what's going on over there. Now, as far as this channel, I am going to leave it up at least for a little while. And I prayed to God one day, and I said, if you want me to continue doing this channel, I want you to show me at least 50 subscribers by November 1st. And that was a month ago. And I knew that was unlikely, but if God wants it to happen, it will happen. So I thought, okay, maybe this will work. Because I was already feeling like I didn't want to continue with this channel in the way that I was doing it to begin with. And I didn't want to just start over on the same channel and leave all the old stuff up. So I was just really conflicted about a lot of things. And I prayed about it, and I thought, if I'm conflicted, go to God. God will help me. So it's almost November 1st, and I've only had 2 subscribers. So I don't think I'm going to hit that mark, which is fine. I don't want to. I'm going to be honest with you. This channel, I kind of want to just end it and continue on the other one. I'm not quitting. I'm just starting over in a different way in my new life. And I hope all of you will join me over there and see what it's all about. But with that said, like I said, I'm not going to delete this channel. I'm not going to delete the episodes. If I do anything, If I don't want people to see the episodes anymore, I will put them to private where no one can access them. But for the time being, I'm going to leave them up. And if I feel like I need to hop on here and post another episode for whatever reason, I might. So, but yeah, right now I'm going to be focusing on the new channel, and that's going to take a lot of work and time and effort. So I'm not really going to have much time to go back and forth. Plus I have 2 other channels, my husband's boxing channel and our Mexican Dream channel that I have to work on constantly. So that is a lot of work. Plus I'm writing books, nonfiction and fiction, Christian stuff. And yeah, I got a lot on my plate, but I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel excited about everything, and I'm really excited to share it all with you. So maybe it's goodbye for now on this channel. I don't know, but I'll see you on the other one. Goodbye. God bless.